Well, hello.
I am loading up the computer for the, well, setting it up.
I can't tell if I'm on or not.
I'll let you know in a second. Getting there now. Yeah, looks like you're there. Yep. Let me mute that though. Otherwise, it'll start echoing.
You're in there?
I'm in there. As I said, you're on.
Ah, okay.
Yep, it's there. I'll make sure the chat's working. Did you see that?
Gotcha. Hey everybody, welcome to my live streaming on YouTube and TikTok. Answering questions tonight. Let me turn this up a little bit.
You're paused.
Q&A. Answering questions on oil and gas, energy, politics. How does the video look on YouTube?
So it looks pretty good. You got your half, and then you have the half that says that that's not a thing, you know. So yeah, it looks pretty good.
So you can see it all? Okay.
You can see that.
Hey Rob, how are you?
Actually, I can show you what you see.
Thank you, Rob.
There you go.
Oh, good. Minus 25 Wednesday. Yeah. It's supposed to be cold. And it's supposed to be cold for a week. And that's going to put a lot of upward pressure on natural gas prices. I can tell you that right now. They're already got a lot of pressure on them. Will Elon get involved with the oil industry? I seriously doubt it. Seriously doubt it. That's all we need is two people that don't have a fucking clue. Um, How was your day, Joe?
It wasn't too bad. The power came off and on and stuff like that because the wind was so bad, but it's not too bad. Pennsylvania. I'm in Pennsylvania. I gotta go shut his door because he turned his TV on, and we all know what happens when that happens. Holy crap, that TV's loud.
Thank you, Travel. Thank you, Smith. Sean wants to know, I had a thought. If current rigs and refineries are permitted for the Gulf of Mexico, will they apply to the name change? I mean, so the name, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking me, but the name change changes absolutely nothing as far as how much we drill, produce, or how anything works in the Gulf. It changes nothing. And I honestly, I don't know. Like, are you asking me if companies are going to change the name on their equipment, or I'm not sure what you're asking me, but changing the name doesn't impact anything other than the name. That's the only thing. It changes nothing. Changes nothing in drilling. Nothing. It's just a word on Google. That's all it is. It changes nothing. Excuse me.
So, Doug, I'm not sure what you mean by FMB, but if it's internet terms rather than, no, I'm not a financial management branch, okay? If it means anything other than that, then yeah, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt for a second then.
So
Sorry.
when you get a permit, Sean, when you get a permit to do something, the location is based on latitude and longitude. Changing the name of the Gulf does nothing to the permit. It's latitude and longitude. Yeah. Will we get new refineries built? No. No. What is that doing there? I didn't put that there.
What's what doing?
That right there. Thank you for the question, Sean.
I see it.
There.
Okay.
Get rid of it. Bye, Kevin. Bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Jim Summers says, I'm moving to Russia to work on Trump Tower Moscow. Wow. Congratulations. Where can I find the specific parameters of the banned areas for offshore drilling? You can just Google the map, like you can just Google it and it'll pull it up. It'll show you a map. But no part of the Gulf that's banned is anything we drill in. No, the change was not to get around the ban. The change was not to get around the ban. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And so you know, the we literally just put together a commission to try to get rid of the ban, But if you Google, Nick, if you Google um, drilling ban map, it'll pull it up for you. Google drilling ban map, and it'll show you everything you're looking for. Oh, I know, Nick. I wasn't saying you think that. I know you're trying to prove to other people, and that's going to be very frustrating for you. And the great thing about that map is it'll show you that Donald Trump had banned it in the exact same spot. It'll show you that Donald Trump banned it in the exact same spot. How's everyone doing tonight? I looked at oil prices today and then I realized it was Sunday. So, yeah, interesting or entertaining to say the least. That's for sure. It keeps me in content though, I don't have a blue check mark on TikTok. This is my main account. Dr. Clark Van Glider. How does the cost of offshore drilling compare to onshore, and how far above break even on that cost? Does oil need to go for companies to do more than pay dividends? So the cost to drill offshore is significantly higher than it is onshore, and it takes significantly longer, but the wells produce at much higher rates for longer, where onshore you can drill a well in a couple of weeks. Has a lot of front loaded production, and then the wells begin to decline very quickly, right? Offshore, the wells flow a significant amount of oil for a much longer period of time. That drives down the break-even cost, because the break-even cost is based on the total amount of oil the well will produce over its life, not how much it produces in any particular week, how much it will produce over its life. So the projects in the Gulf of Mexico are much more expensive, but the wells produce significantly more oil. And they take a lot longer to bring online as well. For today's That's Not a Thing, New York Gen Xer says, I cannot wait for them to start drilling off Long Island. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. Will the U.S. buy oil from Russia? Not anytime soon. But if everything ends, I don't know what will happen. That'll be up to buyers in the United States. So
So he's also going live on YouTube, and if you want to come over there, the chat's slower. If you feel your questions are being missed, come over to YouTube, and also make sure you subscribe when you do.
why do those wells produce more? Very high permeability wells with very large reservoirs that are trapped in that's trapped in geologic traps and anticlines that have an extremely high permeability, which means onshore United States is like tight rock, very tight, dense rock that the oil has to flow through. Less permeability. That's why we have to frack so much. Offshore, um, it's a totally different deal. The geology is different. The oil reserves are different. The amount of what is that? What is DPM? Um,
It's me. The thing wasn't working. Just give me a second. I'm retyping it now.
okay, uh, yeah, Gulf of Mexico and onshore United States is the difference in the geology and the structures is like night and day. It might as well be the difference between Saudi Arabia and the United States, right? Um, and also, from an offshore platform, you can drill a lot of wells in one spot, right? You can drill a ton of wells in one spot. So, but
So let me explain. I had my reading glasses on. I couldn't see. I forgot to put them up on my head.
I was I saw the first one and I was like, oh, she messed up. And then you did it again, and I was like, what are you,
I didn't put.
what are you
After I
doing?
did the second, I was like, why did I not put my glasses up? Because like the keyboard's kind of blurry. The writing on the thing's kind of blurry from putting the glasses on.
At what price? This is a good question. At what price? Hey, Dying Breed, thank you for coming in. At what price? I'm gonna hit this volume right here. Okay, at what price? At what price do you think oil will have to peak before ANWR becomes viable to drill? Um, so, on a project like in ANWR, you're not looking at the price of oil. You're not. Because from the time you're in the planning phase of going to ANWR to the time you're in the production phase, it's 5 years later. It's 5 years later. It doesn't, the current price of oil or next year's price of oil or what they think it'll be the year after that makes absolutely no difference. Makes absolutely no difference because you're 5 years away from selling oil when you're starting. So that's not something they even look at. They don't even look at it. Doesn't matter what the price of oil is. I think it says I have my glasses on. Anyway, got a comment. No, you're looking at the price of infrastructure. That's exactly right. You're looking at the price of infrastructure because that's one of your largest fixed costs is the infrastructure. Thank you so much for the gifts, everyone. Please make sure and gift the moderator. I have a goal set, snowflake goal for the snowflakes.
is for all the snowflakes that come to your comment section and cry.
Everyone is watching the race. Is it too expensive and too risky financially to drill at ANWR? Yes, yes, and yes. And it's also it would be like stepping on a landmine and knowing it's there. From a branding perspective, you know, oil companies are really big on their brand, and none of them want their brand to be in ANWR, regardless of everything else. So, yeah. Too expensive, too risky, too everything, too everything, too damaging to the brand for sure. Thank you, if you only knew. Nick asked, even for the private companies, you know, Nick, the the previous two lease sales in ANWR didn't fetch really any interest from oil companies at all. And the thing about private companies, you know, one of the big, you know, with ANWR, to commit to ANWR, you're committing to like an $8 to $10 billion project without even knowing what's there, because the oil reserves in ANWR are unproven. They don't know what's there. They can guess and all that, but companies typically need a lot more data before they go throw $10 billion at something, you know. And a great example is the Willow Project and the National Petroleum Reserve. You know, they knew how much, they know how much oil is there. That is a proven area, southwest of Prudhoe Bay. Proven, reserves are proven. They know it's there. They just got to spend the money to go get it. ANWR's not proven. They would be out there drilling test wells till they hit something, literally. Um, and there's just nothing there. So, thank you, Working Man. With modern technology, isn't there more certainty involved? So the cost just to go up there and look. So first you got to spend the money acquiring all the leases, right? So you're going to spend, you know, they expected to raise, I think, $500 million in the lease sale from the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, where they opened up ANWR to try to pay for the tax cuts. I think they were expecting around $500 million in revenue from the lease sales. I think they ended up getting like 12 million. So you got to go spend millions of dollars just to test. Um, there's just no interest, you know. How do you get into the oil and gas business? Is it really just being able to buy land and drill for oil? You know, most companies in the oil and gas business never drill for oil and never buy any land. There's so many ways to get into the business. Um, what we did was we signed a management services agreement with an oil company that had an existing oil field that they basically had given up on, and they had lost about $200 million in this oil field. And so we sign a management services agreement with them. So we start an oil company. We sign an agreement with this other oil company to go in and manage their existing assets because they've basically left them. So we sign an agreement with them that we will manage their assets. So what we did as part of that agreement, if we wanted to invest our own money into their existing wells, we could take over ownership of them, right? So if they had a well that went down and say it needed $50,000 worth of work, we would put up $40,000 of that money. They would put up 10. And when we were done, we would own 80% of that well, right? Natural gas prices were really high, and we knew they were going to crash. So we targeted all of their oil producers. We targeted all of their oil producers, and we went in and reworked a ton of oil producers and bought. And through that process, keep in mind, we used our own equipment to work on these wells. We weren't hiring this work out. We were doing it ourselves. So when I say we invested $40,000, that's not really true because basically we were using our own services and charging ourselves $40,000. Does that make sense? We targeted all their oil, waited for gas prices to crash, and it happened. And then once gas prices crashed, we basically took their field. We basically took it. Because they could no longer operate, right? And so, we got started without drilling any wells, without buying any land. We bought some equipment and put it to work and leveraged that into getting a big oil field, basically. Yeah. We basically just stole it from them, basically. I mean, but if they were going broke, it was their own fault, right? But so that's how we did that, dying breed. We didn't buy anything other than some equipment.
So I watched your video on how you got started. It was a really good video. So if anyone missed that, go check it out. It's on YouTube.
Well, it worked out that way. I wouldn't say we took advantage of their inefficiencies. We knew that gas was going to crash, so we targeted oil. Let me turn this volume up on my mic a little bit right here. All right, I turned it up a little bit there. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get into the business. There's a lot of ways, but it still took a significant dollar investment from us. We just did it a different way to get a lot more stuff. Basically, we spent a couple of $1 million on equipment, and went to work with that equipment. And with that equipment, we acquired an asset that they paid $200 million for. So we literally got that asset for a penny on the dollar. For a penny on the dollar is what we got it for. And it worked out perfectly because right after we got the asset, there was a huge discovery found in it. Like, if they would have, if they would have just waited, if they would have just waited, but sound is good, awesome. So Jill, I got a new computer, and this thing's a beast.
A laptop?
So check this out. I go, and none of the computers, as far as the laptops, none of them have Ethernet ports.
Nice.
None of them.
Which is,
Even the $1,500 ones didn't have Ethernet ports. So I found a computer that was for gaming, and it had one. It was the only one that had one.
yeah, because they do that because it keeps the internet lives faster, yeah.
So that's the one I bought.
I was going to say, did you have to get a gaming one? Yeah.
And when I go live on YouTube, the thing that says going live never even appears. I'm just instantly live.
You're instantly live, yeah.
I'm live before it has an opportunity for that to even pop up.
You got your Ethernet all hooked up too, right?
No, I'm on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah. It's just gamer computers are faster in general.
Yeah, this computer, I don't know what it has. I don't know.
What brand?
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
It's got something from NVIDIA in it.
Right.
It's got an Intel i7 processor, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know.
Right, yes. And,
It's got something called Katana.
uh-huh. Yeah, I have Katana.
Oh, it's an MSI. That's what it is.
Okay, so Katana is for Xbox, yeah. So it's a gamer. Microsoft basically is what that is.
Yeah, there's an Xbox icon on my desktop.
Yes.
Tell us about that discovery. So, okay. I love this story. So, as soon as we acquired this asset, which consisted of 180 operated wells, a non-operated interest in over 400 other wells and roughly 80,000 acres. What we did is we created our own geologic mapping tool. We hired some guys from Stanford, and they built it. Uses artificial intelligence, and it collects all the data from the entire field, right? All the data from every single well that's ever existed in that entire field, and it uses artificial intelligence, and it basically tells you where the oil is, right? So once we figured out where the oil was, We located all of the old wells that exist where we have the most hydrocarbon reserves based on our model that we built. We went into those old wells and we isolated the old zones and we tapped into the new zones where the model was telling us the oil was. So we would go out to a well drilled in the 70s and we would isolate the old producing zone. We would tap into the zone that we thought had oil in it. And if we struck, right, if we got good production out of that zone, because these are all vertical wells, right? Your big oil producers are typically horizontal wells. These vertical wells, they won't produce a ton, right? They won't produce a ton of oil. Nothing like a big horizontal. So then we go, we have success in a well, and then we take that data to a big oil company. And we're like, hey, we have an oil discovery right here in this area of the asset. And then that company would come in and drill a big horizontal well, and we would get a piece of it. That's how we did that. and through that process, there was a rather large discovery made. And it's the new play here. It's the Cherokee play here in Oklahoma. Am I spilling the beans? No, I'm not spilling the beans. Nothing we do is a secret. Hello, Captain Fantastic. Can you buy the technology? No, you can't. It's very proprietary. If you had the money to buy the technology, you wouldn't need the technology. You know what I mean? It's one of, yeah. That's yeah. Did you get carpets on your floor to reduce the noise yet? I have carpet, but I am looking at some sound dampeners. I have determined that this behind me, Jill, is the cause of my echo. These bookshelves, very hard surfaces right behind me, sound bouncing off of it.
I mean, it's a possibility.
It's a probability.
Okay, yes.
That's what I've
There's
determined.
a lot of stuff on them, though.
Huh?
There's a lot of stuff on them.
Nothing that absorbs sound.
Get some plants and put them on there.
This technology works best in old, mature fields that basically most people have left. Every time there's a basin with a lot of activity, a bunch of companies come in, drill a bunch of wells. They all eventually leave, right? That's what this technology works best with. They come in, they get half the oil, and they give up because the first half is easy to find. The second half is hard, right? So the technology helps you find the second half. And if I have this right now, there shouldn't be any echo on YouTube. Because I can talk at a level lower that naturally reduces the echo. I have a MAGA person telling me gas prices won't go down because there's bird flu problem. That's the bird flu. The bird flu is preventing Donald Trump from lowering gas prices. The bird flu.
Well, maybe the birds are there shitting and you can't taste the oil to see if it's sweet or sour. I mean, I don't know, just guessing.
Oh my God. The bird flu. Do chickens shit oil? I thank you guys for. They're telling me the sound is great on YouTube. You know, that's one of the that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, honestly. The bird flu will be the excuse for gas prices. The bird flu. Dying Breed said birds are calling out sick from their drilling jobs. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Birds are calling out sick from their drilling jobs. I've been wanting to post on my Facebook, if the gas prices don't come down like Trump promised, do we know why it's the Democrats' fault yet? Thank you, Brett. Thank you for the roses. Thank you very much. Here, Jill. Get a little closer. There.
I really don't need to be closer. I was completely joking.
Turn you up a little bit. There. That was Nick, by the way, who said that's what he wants to post on Facebook, and he's going to hurt some feelings if he does so. My computer is currently running at 1%.
Good.
I feel like it's going to be okay.
It's going to be perfectly fine now.
I argue with MAGAs about the $50 barrel thing is not good. At Suncor, all of our major projects froze last time it bounced around 50 bucks. Yeah, that's true, Rob. Do you think gas prices will remain stable for a few months? That depends on your definition of stable. I would call them stable, but they will be increasing with seasonal demand moving into spring. So that's something they should be doing. So gas prices are going to go up. But I would call them stable, but they're going to go up. They're probably going to go up 40 cents a gallon. What is the chance of another Arab-like oil embargo? Can Canada cut off its oil supplies to the U.S., or are there contracts in place to prevent that? Canada's not going to cut off anything to the United States. That's all being provided by companies, by private companies. Um, they're not going to cut off their nose to spite their face. They would literally just have to shut down and go out of business if they did that, right? So um, that's not going to happen. What do you think OPEC will do if Gaza becomes the Riviera? That's not a thing. I don't think that's a thing. The only person that thinks that's a thing is Donald Trump and probably Netanyahu. I would be more concerned about what the rest of the world will do than what OPEC would do. But I'm not sure. Your business model is the same as a few successful independent producers I know. Stay in the field, sell a good well, and keep a piece of it. Buy during a bust. Buy nothing during a boom. That's right, Zane. That is exactly right. Do you think Trump is meeting Putin in Saudi Arabia to talk about OPEC Plus besides Ukraine? I absolutely think that. Not just OPEC Plus, but OPEC as well, because he'll have MBS there. When Russia's sanctions are lifted, how bad will it be for USA LNG? I don't believe Europe is going to commence buying gas from Russia again, even if those sanctions are lifted. I don't think they will. Britain is talking about putting boots on the ground in Ukraine. I think Britain would kick the shit out of Russia. I agree, Josh. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Jill, I have a lot to learn with this software. I've been watching YouTube videos on how to use this on YouTube.
And that's the software you're using on there with the side picture?
Yeah. I see a lot more than that because I see all the software running.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm learning it. Gas prices are up in Southeast PA, 20 cents a gallon in the last week. You're half right and probably full right before too long. Did Jordan and Egypt reject Trump? They will not accept Gaza people. That is correct. They will not accept Palestinians. They don't want 2 million Palestinians coming into their countries. One day we're doing tariffs, one day we're not. Um, One day it's drill baby drill, the next day it's beg OPEC for oil. How can you plan around that? And Josh has all the answers. Thank you, Josh. So Jill, I believe it has stopped snowing at your house.
I will check. I'll look and see.
I haven't checked. I just believe it has.
Well, I want to fucking check it. I think you're. Oh no, there's still snow. It's still coming down.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It looked like it was clearing a little while back. Maybe some more came.
Well, yeah, maybe some more came. Because I think, well, I don't know if it ever stopped yet because I didn't look, but it's still. Oh, look, there's still some coming down out there. Well, maybe it's showing like a clearing of the heavy snow because it ain't coming down like it was. So maybe that's what it is.
No, when I looked earlier, it was like 4 hours ago.
Yeah, it was
So
snow pretty heavy.
There must have been some behind because I saw a clearing line north, east, west of you. I remember crazy ice storms in Oklahoma. Yeah, we've had some crazy ice storms here. Allison says she can't read the comments because she doesn't have her glasses on. Maybe you should put your glasses on, Allison.
So maybe you should put your glasses on is what she's actually saying.
That's not what she said, though. She said she could not see because she did not have her glasses on. So she should put her glasses on.
I bet you she's Gen X and she was just like, you know, being a smart like the rest of us. What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
I'm working here.
Okay. Okay. Just avoid the whole thing. Let's move on.
Of course I need my glasses. Of course. This is not a mystery to anyone. I don't know where they are. That's not a mystery to anyone either. So I live in Houston. We just had a refinery close. Do you think more layoffs and closures will come? I do. And, you know, here's the thing. Jill, do you remember a video I made before the election? Where I was telling people in my industry, get ready.
So yes, I do remember that.
I need to go find that and stitch it.
Okay, so
But I'm waiting for some more people to lose their jobs first.
I think I shared that. I think that's one of the ones I shared from your YouTube, so you should be able to find it that way. Then we'd have an idea when it was, and then you should be able to find it on here if you want.
It's not that far back.
No, it's not.
Has the sudden firing of federal workers had any impact on the oil and gas industry? Not really. Not really. I mean, it'll probably have some type of impact at some point. I Got a message. So how much snow do you have on the ground, Jill?
There's more ice than there is snow, I'm pretty sure, but probably just a couple inches if that, but there's a lot of ice.
Biden made drill baby drill harder before he left, but Trump will get it done. You want to bet? Would you like to take a wager on that? I am totally willing to bet you any amount of money you want to bet that will not happen. Name your price. There's no amount you can name that I would not take. If I don't have the money, I'll go find it because that's a win. That's a win. I'm gonna win. So. Is Jill the IT lady you bragged about in one of your videos? I don't remember doing that, but yes.
So, but I don't remember doing that, but yes, so I think he's referring to the videos where I help you with TikTok.
How will deregulation affect companies in the oil and gas sector, if any? Deregulation does nothing. Deregulation does nothing. Oh, yeah, I did say that. I mean, I don't know how much Jill knows. I just know that I don't know anything, right? And she does, right?
Okay, that's good enough.
I've learned how to clear my cache. That's something we review often around here.
It usually fixes it, that's the why. That is why, okay? And don't let him fool you. He knows more about TikTok than he's claiming. He was just being nice to me.
It's not true. You can watch my videos and see how much I know. You won't see anything that's well constructed or complex in any way. It's me talking. That's what I know how to do. I know how to talk. That's it. There's a red button and a microphone. You are one of the few U.S. accounts I see anymore. I wonder why you don't see U.S. accounts anymore. Did you used to see a lot? Huh. I saw a video today from the news girl, and I didn't get a chance to finish it, so I don't know if I should even talk about it. But something about opening up national parks. For drilling. Uh, that's not a thing. I'll just say that. That's not a thing. Hi, Barbara. Thank you for the question. The two refineries you said were down. Can you tell us again why that happened and how long it will take for them to come back to production? So the Lyondell refinery in Houston, it's not coming back on. It is closed for business. The Martinez refinery in Northern California, it blew up. And I don't know how long. We've gotten no indication of how long it'll be down, to my knowledge. I check daily and haven't seen anything, so. What are your thoughts on the US government allowing national parks to drill? That's not a thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a thing that they won't allow it. I'm saying it's not a thing that it's going to happen, because it's not going to happen. And I haven't read anything specifically that says they're even allowing it. That was just going off what the news girls said. So have I been to Roswell? Oh, I got to do a puzzle.
So it's giving you a puzzle a lot.
It's because I'm not touching my phone. I actually lived in Roswell for a year when I was 9 years old. But yeah, I've been to Roswell. I have been to Roswell. I spent my fourth grade year at George Washington Elementary in Roswell, New Mexico. True story. Deepest well I've worked on. That's a good question. Man, I've worked on a lot of deep wells, and I'm not sure I remember the deepest one. Yeah, my stepbrother went to that military school. Um, he, I don't remember. I know I've worked on wells greater than 25,000 foot deep, 26, 27 ish. But those were horizontal wells that had extremely long laterals. Um, the deepest vertical well I've worked on is about 25. Um, that well bankrupted the oil company that tried to drill it. And we showed up to the location one day and they had a different oil company sign on the lease road. Do other top producers of oil drill horizontally like the US does, using similar techniques? Yeah, horizontal drilling happens in quite a few places around the world. We're the best at it because we've been doing it the longest. Um, most places don't need to. It's not a technique that you do just because you want to. It's a technique you use because you have to, right? So, they've done some horizontal drilling in the Middle East, but most of their wells are vertical wells. It's much more prevalent in the United States than anywhere else by far. So I know they do a lot of horizontal drilling in Canada as well. Have you been up to the Canadian oil sands? Not to work. Most interesting well incident you worked on? I've worked on quite a few blowouts, but probably the craziest thing was burn down a frac spread. And what was crazy about it was it was an electric fleet. If you're in the industry, you know where I'm going with this. So we had an electric fleet, and we were running electric off a gas-powered turbine, and we weren't using well gas. We were using compressed natural gas in tankers, and so we had 4 giant tankers sitting on location with the whole location on fire. And I actually had to call the engineer that designed the tankers because I couldn't get an answer out of anybody. I called an engineer, and I think I can't remember what country he was in, but it was somewhere in the Middle East. I think he was in Egypt. Anyway, I had to call this guy to find out what the blast radius of those tankers were because I didn't feel like we had evacuated far enough. Because when they put together their plans, they didn't account for those tankers. And anyway, I was correct. The blast radius was a mile. The blast radius was a mile, so we had to get everyone a mile away. We had to close down the airspace. We had to close all the roads, all access and egress. We had to do a lot of stuff. It was pretty wild. I was the incident commander. Yeah, that was probably the most interesting. No, that was in West Texas. That was a big fire. what do you think will come of the EU meeting in France tomorrow about Trump? I don't know. Probably nothing. Probably nothing. I mean, honestly, what are they going to do? Do different oil fields have different cultures? Not in the United States. Not in the United States. Pretty much the same shit everywhere because it's the same people. When I worked in Pennsylvania, everybody I worked with was from Oklahoma. There was nobody from Pennsylvania there. It was all oil field guys from Oklahoma, some from Texas. There was nobody there from Pennsylvania. We couldn't hire anybody from Pennsylvania. Do you know that, Joe?
I didn't know that.
So this was the early days of a lot of activity in Pennsylvania. It's probably a lot different now, but I opened a yard up there, and I had my company up there, and we were working for quite a few other companies, but we could not get anyone from Pennsylvania to come to work for us because, at least in the area I was in, everybody had a union job, and they had a lot of demands, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that.
There's a lot of union jobs here in PA. Well, there used to be. I know quite a few who work in the oil field now from here. Because there is not as many union jobs, that's why.
Ah, okay.
Not many good paying jobs either.
Hi, Roman. How are you? Yeah, I couldn't hire anybody. Nobody would come to work for us. It wasn't that I wasn't willing to hire people. They wouldn't come to work for us. They wanted all the benefits of a union job. And my response to that was, well, you're going to have something better, and that is that you're going to make twice as much money. So you can either have your 6 breaks a day, and you're guaranteed, like in this industry, we can't shut down operations so everyone can enjoy their perks of being in a union. That's not how it works. When you're spending $40,000-$50,000 an hour, when that's your burn rate on an oil field location, when you're spending 40 or 50 grand an hour, you're not going to stop the entire operation because someone thinks it's their right to eat lunch at a certain time. You get to eat lunch when it's time to eat lunch. Not when you want to eat lunch, but when it's time to eat lunch. That's how it works here, right? Nobody would come to work for us, so. And then I got into, it didn't escalate into a fight, but it was a fight, but it didn't escalate into punches being thrown because it got broken up before that happened. This guy met me at this restaurant to talk to me about a job. And back then I still smoked, so I was outside smoking when he pulled up. He was driving, it was a Mercedes AMG Roadster. It had a clear hood on it. It had a V12 engine in it. It's like a $130,000 car. He comes pulling up in this little car. He comes out there and he's talking to me. And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "I work for the line company." He's He works on power lines. And he said, I work for the line company, but I'm not working right now. I said, well, why aren't you working? He said, we're on strike. I said, you're on strike? He said, yeah. We want more money. I said, dude, you're driving a $130,000 fucking car. You probably make more money than I do, and you're working on power lines. What do you possibly have to be pissed off about? He did not like that at all. Like, he did not like that at all. Because I'm driving my pickup. I'm driving my diesel pickup. He come up there with gold chains and driving a AMG Mercedes Roadster, and like, this dude was, he was dripping or something. He had the drip. I don't know what the kids say, but
The drip? The
huh?
the drip.
Yeah,
Like
he had the drip. Dude was wilding out. Like, he was styling. I was like, dude, the guys that work on power lines where I live, they're not rolling around like this. Jeez Louise, brother. But like I said, that was in the early days, and the industry's been there long enough now. I'm sure there's a ton of people from Pennsylvania that that work in the industry now. But
I know a couple. Yeah.
he was, but in those early days, we couldn't find anybody to come to work because if it wasn't union, he was showing out. Yeah, I mean, he was. But like, if and nothing against unions, but if you're in a union and you're currently on strike, the last person you should be talking to about a job is the guy in the oil field. You're not going to get a job. In the oil field, when you go on strike, you quit. And they replace you 30 seconds later, and they don't care. The new computer is working great. My keyboard lights up like yours, Jill.
I figured.
And
I did. Is it the clunky keyboard?
huh?
Is it the clunky keyboard?
No, it's not clunky. You can't even hear it when I'm typing. Like,
Well, that's no fun. Gotta be able to hear it.
it's constantly changing colors, and it's all different colors all the way across, but they're all changing all the time. Like, it's like pulsing. Boom, boom.
Okay, so you can change that, like, to different settings.
It's fine.
Okay, right now mine's solid.
Hey, Monkey
Sometimes
Boots.
I'll do the rain. Sometimes I'll do the pulsing. Sometimes I'll do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You see my music one.
Yeah, I did. Hi, Tina. It is kind of a psychedelic keyboard.
Yeah, I have a slight background noise. It's called a husband who can't hear and he's watching television. I am sorry.
What's he watching?
Some kind of gladiator type of show or whatever. I don't know. I hate them kind of shows. That's why he's watching it.
Gladiator. Why is Trump pushing oil and Elon pushing EVs? Well, Elon needs to be pushing EVs because Tesla is tanking. Dude, Tesla's about to. Oh my God. Tesla's going to end up like Twitter.
See, monkey boots don't like them kind of shows either.
Gladiator shows.
Yeah, I can't stand them.
I don't think I've ever watched a Gladiator movie.
And hi, monkey boots.
I worked for a couple of oil companies in Oklahoma and they were midstream. What does that mean? So, in the oil and gas industry, you have upstream, midstream, and downstream. It's like a creek or a river, right? Upstream, that's where the oil and gas is produced, right? Upstream. So, if someone says they work for an upstream oil and gas company, basically means they work for an oil and gas producer. Midstream is transportation and logistics of said products, pipelines, trucks, anything that moves product from upstream towards the downstream is midstream. So if you worked in Oklahoma, you may have worked for Chesapeake, which had an upstream and midstream division. You may have worked for Enable, you may have worked for Williams, you may have worked for Marathon, you may have MPLX, you may have worked for quite a few companies, midstream in Oklahoma. Downstream is basically the retail. That's the gas station, right? End user. Roman, who is a member, says, do you think USA will recover the Panama Canal? Is there a positive side for the oil and gas industry? There's not really a positive for the oil and gas industry with the Panama Canal, other than, you know, unless they stop us. Unless they stop us from using it. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, we use it, but we're currently using it, not having any problems. I don't know where the Donald Trump's fascination with the Panama Canal came in, but oh, Andrea, the wealth gap. The wealth gap is staggering. What are your thoughts on how to narrow that gap? Um, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. The first thing you have to do is stop suppressing wages, right? Um, and the second thing I think you have to do is tax. Um, so I don't know if tax is the right word. So if you're rich, you live on loans, so you don't have to pay income tax, right? Um, how do you stop that? How do you stop that? because you get to a point where your growth, your financial growth exceeds. So, say you have $100 million in equity in a company, you go borrow $10 million against that equity, you just paid yourself $10 million. Tax free money, right? And the equity, once companies become that big, the equity grows faster than the interest on the loans, basically, right? Um, so then what they do when that note matures, they take equity from another company and they go borrow to pay that off, and they have another $10 million tax free, right? And they just repeat that cycle, and they're able to accumulate massive amount of wealth without ever paying any taxes. But honestly, I don't know if we can stop what's happening from that perspective. I don't. I don't think we can. Would selling more Teslas lead to higher LNG sales for all the natural gas electric plants? I guess it depends on where they're at, you know. But that wouldn't be LNG, that would just be natural gas. Do you get as much misinformation rhetoric in the US oil field as we do in Canada? Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. That's why I exist. Um, Hi Gigi. I'm good. How are you? Once you attain a certain amount of wealth in this country, it becomes unbelievably easier to multiply that in many, many, many multiples, right? But most of these uber rich people have attained that through technology. They've attained that through being early with technology. And the difference between LNG and natural gas, other than one being liquid and one being gas, that's it. That's the whole difference. But we don't use LNG in the United States because we don't need to. We convert natural gas to liquid natural gas because 1 unit of natural gas converted to liquid natural gas is 600 times smaller once converted. So the reason we convert it to LNG is so we can export it, put it on ships and export it in large amounts. So we don't use really LNG in the United States. It's just we convert it to LNG for export, basically. LNG, not LNG. Yeah, Tina. As an Okie, I want to encourage you to toss your hat in the ring for governor. Really? Do I look like a governor, Jill?
In today's world, absolutely. But I'm just gonna say, if you become a governor and it's Oklahoma, I am moving there.
Why is that?
Because, like, yeah, why not?
How do you convert natural gas to LNG? You cool it. Um, yeah, you cool it to like, what is it? Like negative 280 degrees or some shit. It's really cold. Um, yeah, it's not enough just to be cold. It's got to be fucking cold as fuck. Gas just went up again in California, so what's the best mini chainsaw to buy? Do you need to make some side money? Do you need a mini chainsaw to go get you a side hustle going to buy some more gas? Thank you, James. What would, I mean, I don't even know like what I would do as a governor. Probably just throw shit at people.
Oh, then I'm definitely moving there because I can be throwing things at people with you, and that would just be the bomb.
You know, it was our last governor. Our last governor, they had their daughter living on the Capitol grounds in a camper.
No way.
Yeah, way. Way. Thank you so much for the gift.
Well, then I'm buying a camper and moving there.
Her daughter was living in a camper in the yard, basically, of the Capitol. Only in Oklahoma.
Only in Oklahoma.
I wonder what one of my what would I do? I think I would probably. We got to do something with bingo. We got to do something with bingo.
What the hell are we gonna do with bingo?
There's a lot of people play bingo in Oklahoma.
A lot of people play bingo in Pennsylvania too.
We got to make bingo great again.
Okay.
Have a bingo holiday where everyone gets the day off to play bingo.
That would. What the hell? Why not? A paid day off, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. That's right. MBGA, make bingo great again.
Yes.
What else? We gotta get some vending machines.
Yeah, no Dr. Pepper in them though.
A vending machine in the Capitol building that only sells Reese's.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Several different kinds of Reese's, of course, like, you know.
Checkers. Yes. Checkers will be an elective in high school in Oklahoma if I'm the governor.
Checkers.
Checkers. Yeah.
Because chess is too hard?
I mean, that's a good point, but no, that
I'm just asking, like, is it because of, you know.
chess will be like uh, checkers 2, right? You have English 1 and English 2. So 1 is checkers, right? You take checkers your sophomore year, and then your junior year you take chess.
Okay. Or if the checkers is boring for you, you can move on up to the chess. Yes. Yes.
Don wants cribbage in school.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what that is.
You don't know what cribbage is?
No, I do
Oh,
not.
what about spades?
I know what spades is.
You know, I'm starting to think I'd be a really good governor.
I think you would. Hey, Elle, if you're hearing silence, turn up your volume. Wait, you probably didn't hear that. I should have typed it.
Move to Canada. Why don't I live in Anchorage? I just never thought about doing that, I guess. I don't know. Never thought about it. We were always freaking out because she was talking about shutting down line 5. You can't shut down line 5. Roman says if John Dutton made it to governor, he doesn't see why I can't. You know, I agree. You know, it wouldn't be the first time a nobody came out of some nowhere and won the governor of Oklahoma. If there's anyone from Oklahoma here, they might remember Brad Henry. Uh, and he actually turned out to be a really good governor. Nobody ever heard of that dude until he ran for governor. Matter of fact, I bet more people know who I am now than knew who Brad Henry was when he decided to run for governor. And Jill, if you want to know how big football is in Oklahoma, Brad Henry ran for governor. Nobody knew who he was. Like, nobody ever heard of this dude. He ran for governor. He was down by like, even getting close to the end, I think he was down by like 10 points. And then he got Barry Switzer to endorse him, former OU football coach. And he won the fucking governor.
Nice.
Yeah, because Barry Switzer said so. So that's. Yeah, and the guy we got now was mortgage fraud guy. Mortgage fraud guy. That's what I call him. What's the name of that company? Gateway? Gateway Mortgage?
So, to like the live, because someone said, where's the likes? To like the live, just tap on Mr. Global's face. Just tap, 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 tap. That'll bring up the hearts. That's the likes going up there. They're in the top left. It says 27.1. Let's get into 35K.
Thank you, Daria. Do I know how to play? I don't even know how to pronounce the word you typed. So that no, I don't know how to play that. This seems to work a lot better now. It's pronounced euchre. Never heard of it. Never heard of euchre. It's a card game, huh? No, I'm on YouTube. Euchre is the best game ever? Really? Yes. The card culture is pretty big in Oklahoma. As Donald Trump used misinformation about the oil and gas there, like our conservatives do here, he's in Canada. Yes. Well, I don't know if it's misinformation or if he's just dumber than shit. That, yeah, I'm not sure. It's one or the other. Can you explain how the price of oil affects our electricity prices? It doesn't really. The price of natural gas can affect your electricity prices if you receive electricity in your home that is produced by natural gas. But oil doesn't really impact your gas prices. There's very, very, very few places left in the United States that generate power with oil. It used to be a lot more prevalent back in the old days. There was a lot of oil-fired power plants, but today I think it's less than like half of 1%. It's a very small amount. Yeah, natural gas prices can certainly impact your electricity prices a lot more, and it's fairly natural gas isn't as volatile as oil. Um, it's either low or high, but when it's low for a long time. When it's high for a long time. Uh, would our reserve save us if Canada stopped supplying energy to the United States? Yeah, it would. It would, and we wouldn't have to use that much. It wouldn't take long to source and replace that oil from OPEC or somewhere else. What's the lowest gas pump price there could be without hurting the business? So, um, refineries are vastly different. There are today, right now today, with gas at what 3.16 a gallon, there some refineries are losing money at that price. Some other refineries can turn a profit significantly lower. But once I would say on a national average, you get down to and today probably you get down to like 275. They're probably all losing money on gas. They're still making money on the diesel and the jet fuel, but they're losing money on the gas. So right around there, it's higher than it used to be because inflation not only impacts people, but it impacts businesses. You know, so if you're paying more for gas, food, housing, utilities, uh, insurance, companies are also paying more for all the things they use, and a lot of people don't think about that. And that's why inflation is so sticky. There's like an entire euchre discussion going on over here. I'm gonna have to check that out. Hello, Joan.
Hi, Joan.
Why is the oil and gas industry so volatile? Because every nation on the planet that produces oil and gas is trying to make as much money as possible off of it. And that's just a perfect recipe for volatility. That is true, Mary. People drive around. Yes, they drive around looking for the cheapest gas. Uh, they save 89 cents on a fill up, and they probably spent that 89 cents driving around. And then they buy a Mountain Dew for $3. That's true. Yeah.
Okay, I will not buy a Mountain Dew for $3. That's just, I'll just fill up my Yeti before I leave.
What if it's a great big one?
No,
What if it's a 2 liter?
no, I don't like them.
What if it's 3 liter?
No, I don't like them.
What if it's buy two for $3 and they're 2 liters?
Well, who's gonna drink them then, because I don't like 2 liters. Like smaller,
I just,
right?
I just kept asking, what if? What if? What if? Mr. G, I've always heard plastic is a byproduct of oil or gasoline. What exactly is the state of plastic as a byproduct? So plastic is actually a byproduct of the feedstocks that come from refining a barrel of oil. And it's a petrochemical product, but it's basically made out of the trash that's left over after you refine a barrel of oil. It didn't really come, I mean, it comes from oil, but what it really comes from is the goop that's left over after they have refined a barrel of oil, if that makes any sense. And it is a petrochemical. So all that, they call it a feedstock. All that gets shipped to a petrochemical plant, and plastics are born, and hyperplastics. Did you see The Simpsons where Homer visits New York and gets a something from a street food vendor? Gets thirsty, the vendor offers him Mountain Dew or crab juice. I don't remember that. It's basically, you know, it's like made out of the same crap that asphalt's made out of, basically. So, Jill, how do you like your Mountain Dew? In cans or fountain?
Mostly cans, right? But if they had like some glass bottles, I'd definitely buy that. And if I do buy a bottle, um, it can't be no 2 liter because some things go flat.
They do. That's why I don't buy 2 liters, because they go flat. My dad bought 2 liter bottles his whole life.
Yeah, and my mother did too
And
because it's cheaper.
yeah. And when he was done with it, he filled it up with water, and that was his ice.
Oh my God, that's what my mother did. But she used to put it like in her deep freezer to help, because if she didn't
Yeah,
fill the deep freezer, it helped keep the electric bill down.
that's right.
That's what she.
He'd fill it up with water and make ice, and then he would cut it off with like a straight blade, and he would get an ice pick and he would. Like, dude, you can buy some fucking ice trays. Like,
Now my mother had ice trays, right? She used it for the deep freezer usually.
I've never seen anybody do that, but my dad.
She also filled up the milk jugs. So someone said they saw that ice maker, they may need to get one. I need to get one, okay? Like, I need to get myself one too. I am sick of making ice.
Would it be difficult to make up to 4 million barrels a day if Canada stopped? We wouldn't make it. We would just import it from another country. We'd probably import it from OPEC, or we would just import it from somewhere else. But they're not going to stop, so. Not going to stop. Would it cost more from OPEC? Yes, it would. It would. It would cost significantly more. At least $15 a barrel more, and our gas prices would rise significantly. So, yeah. Well, Jill, I think this was a good little test run.
I agree. I think it turned out pretty well.
Tomorrow, 2 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to do this, but Central Standard Time. I'm going to work on the software a little more and learn how to do some stuff. And this is going to evolve into more of a type of show where I'm giving you news and stuff for 15-20 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A period, and then we'll probably shrink it down to an hour, unless we just get bored. But doesn't OPEC sell light sweet? OPEC sells everything. Yeah, they have heavy oil, they have light oil, they have everything. They have it all. I'm gonna go spend some time with my kid before he goes to bed and shut this off. This was a test run for new computer, new software. Jill?
Yes.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. I did. I was waiting for you to say your buys, and then I was going to say thank you for the gifts, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, so much for coming in. And, we're going to do this tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. Keep getting better, huh?
Yes, and thank you, everyone, for the gifts.
Thank you guys so much.